So on this MedOps project, I'm doing the user research. I'm essentially talking to all those different companies that might be either potential users or data providers or benefiters in one of the other or the other way of our product. In that role, I'm leading the user research interviews. So one problem definitely was the fragmented nature of the market that we were trying to research. That the investors landscape is actually very complicated, and it's hard to tell who would be the direct users of the data that we are trying to provide and the models that we're surfacing and making available. So I think that was the main challenge. First of all, finding out in that very complex value chain who is taking what role and who might be, first of all, the primary users, but then also other secondary users that we would help with our solution. So essentially, we chose a very agile approach, I think, by first of all starting to put ahead of this. We only had three months time for this, and we had to undergo 2 development phases that typically take for like around half a year. So what we did, we had to start very early, and we took the best guesses and then expanded from there. We undertook first a round of very open-ended user pains and needs interview sessions, which were one-on-one interviews, where we asked around for the goals and the needs that our potential users or the parties that we were interviewing, the needs and goals they had. And then secondly, we had a round of user research feedback interviews, so to say, where we put a demo in front of our potential users and then in order to get their feedback. So we found out by that whether we are providing something of value, but also would be able to narrow down further who the actual users might be. There was a lot of uncertainty, I think. So we started with the project. This was a competition. So we started with a very broad idea, which is not very unusual. But by doing the ongoing user research, we got redirected, and we very much got directed by the user research in directions that we had not expected ahead of time. So this way of working in the open was very different from now. So essentially, sometime during the second month, we were discussing whether everybody would feel comfortable with the uncertainty that we had in the project, and everybody was agreeing that this was there was still a lot of fog around. It's also very rewarding, when you find out something that you hadn't expected before, full of surprises. It's an interesting experience. So I know the Austrian energy market a little, not very much though, and mostly from a user's perspective, obviously. But then the UK system is different, and also the way it's regulated is different, and the tasks and responsibilities, how the market is structured, is different. And learning this, and then maybe trying to find parallels and applying this way of thinking on the Austrian market, that was very interesting to me.